Hello everyone, Volker here from MSO-dlx, Microsoft Office Deluxe Tools. Continuing and finishing our series on working with the charts in Excel and PowerPoint efficiently. This is going to be our third and last sequel in this series. In this series, we are going to update this pie matrix to updated data in Excel, and we are going to create this slide. To review, in our first episode, we've taken a look at the charting solutions available in PowerPoint 2007. We've decided to work with the chart objects, because those I can resize and reformat just as I'm used to in Excel. However, no matter whether I'm working with chart objects with a data table embedded or chart objects externally linked to workbooks, we've learned there are challenges, especially when it comes to updating data. I don't want to leak confidential information. I don't want to inflate the workbook. I want to have the flexibility of renaming a workbook and of passing around my presentation and workbook. And that's all not handled well by PowerPoint out of the box. In the second episode, previous episode, we saw the charts in action. We've added the year 2022 to this chart. We've updated this table, also adjusted the chart over here. This slide we've skipped because the work would have been pretty much a repetition of what we've done here. But this slide we've edited anew, and we saw the challenge that our colleague had not sent the data for the last part, only the chart in PowerPoint. So we had to extract its data. Now in this episode, we're going to update this pie matrix and build this new slide. So the slide and the pie charts, all of which chart objects, shall be updated. Well, what's the current situation of these charts anyways? Let's find out. Alt-click, all of which are linked externally to a workbook. All right, which or what workbooks? We can find out by looking in the log data. So this chart here is linked to this workbook, and the link is still valid. So path and file name haven't changed. Same here and here too. Okay, that's already been updated in the meanwhile, but still not to the most recent version. The most recent version to use is version 4, and that's version 3. So now we know these are all chart objects, and they need to be updated with their data. I may mistakenly update the data like this because the link is still valid, isn't it? Yes, but that's not the newest data version. You see, this chart and this chart are the same, so I may cheer that the link still is intact, but this workbook just doesn't contain the updated data. My colleagues decided to work by renaming the workbook. If I want to relink these charts to the new workbook, you know, I can go the native way, and here I would have to find out which link belongs to which chart on what slide, and then I could change the source, and I have to do so for each and every chart, each and every link. That's not very efficient. Let's see if it can't be done more efficiently. So with the chart selected, let's relink the charts. This chart's been linked to this workbook. We know that's outdated. We need version 4 as new workbook. We also know that more charts are linked to this workbook, so why not update them in the same run? This chart here is the one that's been updated meanwhile, but still not to the most recent version, so we'll just repeat here too. The charts are going to be relinked, which does not mean that they update their data. So this process offers updating the data alongside relinking. Let's skip for now. We now see it's been relinked, but it doesn't say that's been updated because we opted out. The chart still looks the same as before. Well, right, because it hasn't been updated. Right? So now to update those charts without relinking, I'm just updating externally linked charts. And watch what's going to happen. Now you see the charts have changed. They've been relinked. If we consult the log, we now see they all have been relinked to version 4, and not relinked, their data has been refreshed with version 4. All right, so we are pretty much done with that. Of course, some fine-tuning perhaps depending on the data values, the data labels, some adjustments. We will skip that part. That's not very informative. Rather, we are going to build this new slide. And my colleague sent a draft slide here. And this is roughly what we are going to create now. Okay, first a new slide. For the valuation charts, I need a table with 10 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. I'm hesitant of copying over the table and then do reformatting because I don't know the history of this table, and I may end up with formatting that I can't completely adjust in this presentation. So I much rather insert a new table, 6 columns we've said, and 10 rows. The data I first copy over into Excel, so I just have the text, which I then update here as text only in my fresh and nicely formatted table. Oh, I see. That's the chart title, and this table has only 5 columns, so we need to insert a sales column here. And repaste from Excel. Good. These 3 cells need to be merged. These 2 as these. And I'm going to set the text vertically and optimize the column width. Okay, let's center the text and also let's set it into the middle. Good. Let's make it a box table. We have 2 levels of row heads with the first color, 2 levels of row heads with the second color, and another 2 levels of row heads with the third color. This table seems to be smaller than the placeholder that's designed for. So let's adjust the table to the proper height. Yeah. Some more optimization so we have more space for the charts. And here I'm going to cheat a little, I guess. Yeah. Okay, these columns evenly distributed. And the values here, percentages. What's this chart's status? It's not externally linked, so then I hope its data table's been embedded. 32818, 32818. Okay. So the series order's been reversed. Control-Alt-V, you enter, and now resort the data by age. The data's been resorted. It's percentages with 1 digit. Well, we'll have to care for the digits later. We need to divide. Control-Alt-V, divide the existing values, which are percentages, and we show 1 decimal. Control-V, the data is clean, enter, and we can clear the data range. Now we have the data table, and we need a bar chart. Okay, Excel didn't like the way I've selected the data. I guess I'll have to move this heading out of the way, and then Excel will be able to map the categories to the bars. Yeah. The chart title we don't need. For the series we have the column headings. Oh, and Excel tries to trick us again. Having reversed the order. Well then, we'll have to reverse the order on the axis. ABC, ABC. We don't need the axis either, and we don't care for the grid lines. Control C. Let's size the chart first. So we take these cells, or we have already taken these cells as, no, now we have these cells as reference. Control C, making the chart the same size and centering. Yep. And back to Excel. Let's pick up the chart size from PowerPoint. Now that the labels are correct, we don't need the tick labels anymore. And we'll maximize. I was wondering why the plot area was not extending. Let's maximize the plot area. To the chart area. Well, currently we still have all three series, and add the data labels. To all series. Yeah, actually I could have continued the way I started off with. So now Control Shift drag and reducing the count of series. First color, second color, third color. Right. I don't have the theme colors in my Excel file, so we'll get the theme colors, and then we can recolor the series segments. On to yellow or yellow-orange. As for the line breaks we have in the data labels, I'm not sure yet. Let's just copy. So what did we have? We have sales, we have EBITDA, enter press value by EBITDA and the margin. Don't need this series, only EBITDA, and it is text. I need to replace the Eurobillion for nothing. And we have a crossover of the separators, the decimal separators. Let's replace that too. Now these are numeric values, and see the chart is following suit. Here we don't need this series. Don't want to have this series and not this series either. And again, we've got text here. Need to replace the X for nothing. For the data format, we don't have negative figures, so we make it simple. Just adding the multiples in quotations. And here, similar to before, the 1000 separator. We want to have only one decimal. Okay, yeah. Deleting, deleting, deleting. And as for the recoloring, I'm selecting this chart last, and we want to do some, let's change it to English so it's easier for you to follow. Chart formatting and copy recolored series point colors. Shift click, copy the data from the last chart in the selection. Okay. What we still need to decide on how we handle the line breaks. And before I forget, that's been Eurobillion, right? Okay, I'm going to cheat as well. Lucky me, that worked. The values we don't need, and we can delete this chart. Now what do we do? Oh yeah, we don't want to have a fill color in the chart area. All right. Currently, the chart is fitted to Control C, fit right here. And if I decrease the plot area, no, that was the entire chart area, the plot area still keeping the line breaks here, which I don't like. I wonder what the logic Excel is following. I don't quite get it, really. We have the values, leader lines we don't want, but still I could select data labels and then resize them separately, which I dislike. A, it's taking a lot of work, and B, it may return to the original size if opened by someone else or even by the same person, especially if using a different Excel version. All right, so I'm going to control the line breaks indirectly by the plot, by the chart area size. Now, Control C. Let's get rid of this chart. Control C. That's inserting, as you know, an externally linked chart, putting it to the correct position, and that's fitting into the designed, wait a minute, oh, I see. This line is coming from the plot area and was misleading. It was not the column border, where the column border is here. Right, this is the column border, the edge, which we must not transcend, and the chart has an outline we need to remove. All right. Okay, we'll do that here in the original. Also, good. Then the column width, yeah, so the plot area fit to the column width, and let's reset the plot area. Need to tuck it in again. Okay, the chart area, the column area, and we'll pick that up from PowerPoint, Alt click, and now we are going to set this chart as reference and resize these charts the same. For the euro billion, do we need 2 decimals for margins? We still have a line break here. Okay. So in increasing the chart width as here is not sufficient for all three charts, and well, then I want to have those four charts uniform. Control C, then let's fit this chart, which is going to go here. Control C, positioning the chart and resizing such that we get rid of the line breaks. Yeah. And then let's resize, alt-click these charts accordingly to what we have in PowerPoint. And start over replacing these charts. I could always press Control C and Control V and do the positioning. However, I could, well, yeah. For this one, let's pick up the reference afresh and insert the chart as externally linked chart. And I've configured the add-in that it's recording the source information in addition to the external link, which is added by Microsoft Office. So the right, no, working pretty risky. I should have saved this chart already, our path. And its valuation charts. And positioning this chart here, or let's just delete it one more time and pasting in the right, my fault. I had this table cell selected, so the chart was fitted to the table cell, and the copy has been made in Excel. Now back here and copy paste. Exactly. The previous chart's been deleted, and now positioning the chart. As for the column width, woo, darn tight, but all right. Next one, and I could control click, right? So I wouldn't have to open the menu, and I made the mistake that I had the cell selected. Shouldn't have done that. Control click this chart and positioned, and if I control click and I've configured the add-in accordingly, the source information is recorded one more time in addition to the external link, here, right? Okay, let's get this one as reference, and this chart, control click, positioned. Too tight, too tight, too tight. We need to tug that in a bit. Now I'm doing the same as, or similar to PowerPoint. I'm setting this chart as reference and applying the same dimensions, and this way the virtual chart size fits well into the columns. And in PowerPoint, just one more time, Alt click. Right. I meant to select one chart and an Alt click to make them the very same size as in PowerPoint. So if the next updates don't cause line breaks in the data labels and the data range is pretty much comparable, then these charts could just be updated like we've done with the previous. Oh yeah, this chart was inserted before I've saved the PowerPoint file. I just discovered we still have line breaks here. I don't quite understand what is Microsoft's logic. Okay, let's just update the chart from here, control click, and take care of the sizing. I noticed we have the line breaks here too. Now it's time for precision work. Okay, so it's a very minimal change that's causing the line break. Okay, so we can do the same thing here also. Going to size the chart. Now again, setting it for reference and applying the same dimensions to all the others. Well then, so to sum it up, this was our last episode in working with charts and Excel and PowerPoint efficiently. You run your analysis, you have your data in Excel first, that's your primary data source. You have plenty of aspects and you present your results in PowerPoint, and you don't want to leak confidential information, you don't want to inflate the file size. You also want to have the flexibility of moving and renaming the origination workbook if you're working with externally linked chart objects. You've seen the charts in action on several slides, and in this episode we quickly relinked these chart objects and updated their data, and then we've built a table. And while we were building a table, you also witnessed a couple of other tools available, like to create a box table quickly. I hope you like it. If you're interested, give me a shout and I'll follow up with other tutorials. So long, Voka from MSO-dlx.